language that God employed, that he used to create.
The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that he used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy. You're invited. That's right, brothers and sisters. We are back. Elder Ricard Shiar, like I've never left. Here we go. Jumping right in. Picking up from where we left off. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. Elder Lawyer, you with me?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay. I'm prayed up. I prayed that the Most High would have this thing go through smooth. Here we are. Elder Lawyer, back from where we just left off at. I have a different computer here. So everyone is talking about P. Diddy and Cassie. The focus actually is on incarcerating P. Diddy. Right. Along the lines of what happened with R. Kelly. And of course, like I said before, the behavior that's shown on the tape is inexcusable. Right? A tape came out in 2016 concerning him dragging Cassie through a hall. But there's a greater narrative that most would ignore. Why was P. Diddy in the position to influence our people through the art of rap anyway, and who put him there? Right? So, like I mentioned earlier, 1992, Tupac said, well, listen, it's time for them to give us what's owed. He was outright in interviews on MTV saying, it's time for you to give us what you owe us. Everyone in the earth is flossing off of us. What you going to do about the people who built the country? Rap. And guess what? He had a resounding influence. Hey, children would have listened to him before politicians, even before some pastors. Right? And then we had, at the same time that was going on, Elder Lawyer, if you will. Just doing a quick refresher. We had KRS-One. With all the rappers getting together around 89, before that, stating our people are headed for self-destruction. All the bigs were in this particular song, right? We had Big Daddy Kane. We had all of them, right? Heavy D, they were all there. See, they were all there knowing that if we go on this trajectory, the powers that shouldn't be are taking us. Eventually, our people will seek to exist. Grassroots speaking to the injustices. And then we had what? Just doing a quick refresher. We had KRS-One who came out and said Shem was a black man. Abraham was a black man from Africa. Then he said Shem was a black man. Shem had Isaac. Isaac had 12 tribes. And we're the 12 tribes of Israel, right? And all of a sudden, the rest of the people came together and said, you know what? We need a meeting. We need a meeting about this rap stuff, because this rap stuff is influencing the people within the inner cities. And keep in mind, folks, you'll see that the music business and all of that is all connected to government outright. So you had in 1990,
after more than 20 years,
you had in 1991, Crazy Bones from Bone Thugs and Harmony say that there was a meeting a year before Tupac would state, y'all need to give us something. So all of the influencers of rap were brought into a meeting. Let me pick it up and let's see what happened in this meeting, allegedly. Fair use.
I finally decided to tell the world what I witnessed in 1991, which I believe was one of the biggest turning points in popular music and ultimately American society. I have struggled for a long time weighing the pros and cons of making my story public, as I was reluctant to implicate the individuals who were present that day. So I've simply decided to leave out the names and all the details that may risk my personal well-being and that of those who were, like me, dragged into something they weren't ready for.
Damn.
Hold on, let me
So we gonna tell a story.
We gonna tell the story. We ain't scared.
You know what I'm saying? What they gonna do?
They after us, not just playing.
Look, that black man.
So look, so he says, between the late 80s and early 90s, I was what you may call a decision maker with one of the more established companies in the music industry. I came to Europe in the early 80s and quickly established myself in the business. The industry was different back then, since technology and media weren't accessible to people like that, like they are today. The industry had more control over the public and had the means to influence them any way it wanted.
Right.
This may explain why in early 1991, I was invited to attend a closed-door meeting with a small group of business insiders to discuss rap music's new direction. Rap music's new direction.
Yeah.
Little did I know we would be asked to participate in one of the most unethical and destructive business practices ever seen.
Crazy.
So this was the meeting. The meeting was held at a private residence on the outskirts of Los Angeles. I remember about 25 to 30 people were being there.
Right.
Most of them familiar faces. Speaking of those I knew, we joked about the theme of the meeting, as many of us did not care for rap and failed to see the purpose of being invited to a private meeting to discuss the future of hip-hop.
Talk to him.
Among the attendees was a small group of unfamiliar faces who stayed to themselves and made no attempt to socialize beyond their circle. Based on their behavior and formal appearances, they didn't seem to be from our industry. Our casual chatter was interrupted when we were asked to sign the confidentiality agreement, preventing us from publicly discussing the information presented during the meeting. Needless to say, this intrigued, in some cases, disturbed many of us. The agreement was only a page long, but very clear on matters and consequences, which stated that violating the terms would result in job termination immediately. We asked several people what this meeting was about and the reason for such secrecy, but could not find anyone who had the answers for us. A few people refused to sign and walked out. Nobody stopped them. I was tempted to follow, but curiosity got the best of me.
That's right.
A man who was part of the unfamiliar group collected all the agreements from us. So now it's going to get to the good part, because the meeting about to start.
Talk to him, G.
It says,
so they had to sign 9 disclosure agreements to be in this meeting, to hear the new direction for this grassroots genre that was used for positivity within our community politically. So all of the bigwigs got together and said, You must sign a non-disclosure. If you say anything beyond this meeting, you will not work anywhere. Now, mind you, rap and music is one of the sure ways where our community in particular can have upward mobility financially out of poverty. So there's not too many avenues for us to actually make it outside of sports and music. So with a threat like that, some would take that threat quite serious.
Quickly after the meeting began, hold on one second.
Get your popcorn, y'all.
Popcorn, get your pistol. No, sweat.
For real though.
Quickly after this meeting began, one of the industry colleagues, who shall remain nameless like everybody else, thanked us for attending. He then gave the floor to a man who only introduced himself by first name and gave no other details about his personal background. I think he was the owner of the residence, but that was never confirmed. He briefly praised all of us for the success we had achieved in our industries and congratulated us for being selected as part of this small group of decision makers. At this point, I began to feel slightly uncomfortable in the strangeness of this gathering. The subject quickly changed as the speaker went on to tell us that the respective companies we represented had invested in a very profitable industry, which could become even more rewarding with our active involvement.
Damn.
He explained that the companies we worked for had invested millions into the building of privately owned prisons, and that our positions of influence in the music industry would actually impact the profitability of these investments. Then he says, I remember many of us in the group immediately looking at each other in awe and confusion. At the same time, I didn't know what a private prison was, but I wasn't the only one. Sure enough, someone asked what these prisons were and what any of this had to do with music. We were told that these prisons were built by privately owned companies who receive funding from the government based on the number of inmates. The more inmates, the more the government would pay these prisons. It was also made clear to us that since these prisons are privately owned, as they become publicly traded, we'd be able to buy shares. Most of us were taken back by this. Again, a couple of people asked what this had to do with us. At this point, my industry colleague who had first opened the meeting took the floor again and answered our questions. He told us that since our employees had become silent investors in this prison business, it was now in their interest to make sure that these prisons remain filled. Our job would be to help make this happen by making music which promote criminal behavior, rap being the music of choice. He assured us that this would be a great situation for us because rap music was becoming an increasingly profitable market for our companies, and as employees, we'd also be able to buy stocks in these prisons. Immediately, silence came over the room. You could have heard a pin drop. I remember looking around to make sure I wasn't dreaming and saw half of the people with dropped jaws. My daze was interrupted when someone shouted, "Is this a fucking joke?" At this
Excuse the
point,
language.
things became chaotic.
Right.
Two of the men who were part of the unfamiliar group grabbed the man who shouted and attempted to remove him from the house. A few of us, myself included, tried to intervene. One of them pulled out a gun, and we all backed off. They separated us from the crowd, and all four of us was escorted outside. My industry colleague, who opened up the meeting earlier, hurried out to meet us and reminded us that we had signed an agreement and would suffer the consequences of speaking out about this publicly, or even those who attended the meeting.
Damn.
I asked him, why was he involved with something so corrupt? And he replied, it's bigger than the music business and nothing we can do. And, it's bigger than the music business and nothing we want to challenge without risking consequences. We all protested as we walked back into the house. I remember word for word the last thing he said. It's out of my hands now. Just remember you signed an agreement. He then closed the door behind him. The men rushed us to our car and actually waited until we drove off the property.
Damn.
So So this meeting, bro.
Now that's a lot for a meeting right there.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, and this person later on, he said, you know, this person actually ended up leaving the music industry after this happened. With a few years after this, he ended up leaving the music industry.
Okay.
And he said he just, like, you know, over the years he just felt guilty, because he said as he sat back and he watched these plans come to a reality
Over 2 decades.
he sat back and was like, wow, they really pulled it off.
Yeah.
They really pulled this off. He was like, they were told not to sign any more political rappers, any more rappers that had messages in their music.
No positivity.
It was all to be gangster rap music that they promoted and put out.
So if you wonder where
And this
Brand
was
Nubians
before
went,
us.
if you wonder where Brand Nubians went, where Poor Righteous Teachers went, where Public Enemy went, where KRS-One went, and all sorts of groups like that was talking,
Yeah.
even Queen Latifah and Moni Love and those, you know
Everybody.
what I'm saying? It's a back door.
Yeah, anything that was harmless, fun rap, you know, anything that had a message in it had to go.
Yeah, that's
You know
why
what I'm
if you
saying?
even notice though, now
And we talk about that all the time.
even be brief with it, you know what I'm saying? Those charms that came out like maybe in 1988.
Hit the like
89,
button.
the African charms. Those they lasted for about 2 years and they disappeared real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely,
Quickly.
definitely. Now, after reading all this, you know, it actually made me feel a few different ways. The first emotion I felt was shocked, because I was definitely taken back by this, just knowing the level of evil that's involved by even thinking of a plan like this. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? The second emotion I felt was anger. Anger because it's not enough for them to exploit our culture and make all the money off of it. Because let's keep it real, the industry has never been favorable towards the artists. Never. But they're going to go beyond the artists to get the artists to influence and lure in the consumer, which they knew at the time were mainly minorities. In other words, keep promoting gangster rap so that the youngsters will be influenced by them, which in turn will incite them to want to act like them, and it's a very good chance they'll end up in their prison.
Yeah.
So they're getting paid twice. They're getting paid from the artists they signing, and then they're getting paid from the people that these artists influence that goes to prison trying to be like these artists.
Yeah.
So they making a killing.
A killing.
They're using the music business to promote their private prison business.
My man is right there talking that right. 1988, a man named Tom Beasley, man. That's the co-founder of the corrections for Corporation of America. That's the CCA. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my French. I'm reading this thing right there real quick. It's the CCA. So in 1988, he founded that, and this is in straight concert with the same thing. So it's like the music business. You do what you do on your side, and over here with the correction facilities, we're gonna do on this side, because. And now in 1970, there was 500 prisons. You know what I'm saying? Only 500 prisons in the United States. To this day, there's 1,700 prisons right now. That means big business. I'm talking about that done flippled over. You know what I'm saying? If flippled over is a word. Because they're making a lot of money off of these things per inmate. You know what I'm saying? So getting with the same thing of the music, it all went hand in hand, and we just partying at the same time.
So us as the artists is the tool they use.
Yeah.
The music is the bait.
Yep.
And the young consumers are the prey. It's a cold game.
Cold game, bro. You know what I'm
Cold game.
saying?
Then I felt sad. Sad because everything we seem to try to create, we always seem to give it away. We're always being tricked and deceived into believing that they have our best interests at hand, when clearly they never have, and they never will. They never will have our best interests at hand. It's blow after blow after blow after blow. Nick.
Elder Lawyer. Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
I know you've seen this before, right?
I have, yes. Yes, sir.
This was in the prime of my life. Prime of my I would say my teenage years going into adulthood. I seen it all happen. From 500 prisons to over 1,700 prisons calculated through the music. Right? Now think about this for a second. Why target our people so? Everything we do for good, they turn to evil. And how does P. Diddy fit in all this? Well, I'm going to show people in a moment. So that we don't get out of whack or unfocused, looking in the direction the enemy is pointing us to. Okay? Because Christ said this. Elder Lawyer, if you will. Let's get Revelation 2:9 real quick out of the Bible. So they had a calculated plan to take the art of music and weaponize it. To weaponize it, folks, in order to pack the prisons with the children of Israel. And see, Christ warned us of this. Let's read this real quick out of the book of Revelation.
Yes, sir. Revelation 2:9.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
It says, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan.
Christ said, I know thy works. He knows the tribulation, the hell we go through, the poverty we go through. But they can't take what runs through our bloodstream. The richness of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And he says, and I know the blasphemy of them, Elder Lawyer, that what?
Which say they are Jews.
That's Christ saying this, read.
And are not.
And are not, but are who?
But are the synagogue of Satan.
But if I'm worshiping in a temple of Torah, where I stand on the Torah and the laws of God, would I incentivize such a behavior in the earth? And this is why Christ says he knows who's behind this. And that's why he pointed out synagogue. 10.
Verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison.
Read that again, Elder Lawyer.
Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison.
The devil shall cast some of you into prison.
That you may be tried.
That you may be tried. So they would manipulate and calculate and make ways to get us into their prison systems. Slavery, slave labor, the corporations, the plantations turned to the corporations. There's a clause in the 13th Amendment that if you commit a crime as black people, your freedom is revoked. You're no longer under the freedoms of the Constitution or the Emancipation Proclamation that emancipated us, that no longer applies to us if they could deem us criminal. That's your school to prison pipeline. Now, but in order for them to do this, Elder Lawyer, in order for them to do this, they had to be able to move from the rap art, from the streets, grassroots, into legislation. And that's when 2 years later, after this meeting, 3 years later, you had who? Bill Clinton, along with Joe Biden, who came with the 1994 crime bill. So obviously they had this plan well in advance. Think about this, Elder Lawyer. Before they knew what they were going to do in the legislation, therefore they needed the rappers to be complicit or sign on to the meeting. Know that they would have a crime bill so that if people are caught with any level of drugs, they can cop a plea and automatically serve time. To a degree where the majority of people I knew growing up, Lawyer, at some time in their life went to prison at some point. Even if it wasn't many years, because most people would just cop pleas. It wasn't, people weren't even going to court. People weren't even fighting the cases. They were just pleading, packing jails. Now, The judgment for those who would use our people, Christ pronounced too. We're going to talk about them, and then we're going to P. Diddy now, who's only a servant for them. He's a servant of them. He was created by them. Okay? Don't come and pull out some video from 2016 and claim that you're here to protect women.
Right.
Allegedly, when it all went down, so-called Sean Combs went to the hotel and paid money for the footage of the hallway. That happened in 2016. He went and paid for the footage. And all of a sudden, after the raid, the footage comes to light. Inexcusable behavior. But who created him? And guess what? Is what was created is the tool they needed to destroy our people. Are they only breaking the tool they made? So now, what is the judgment for these sinister, I would say, veiled controllers behind closed doors, plotting on our people, unbeknownst to folks? They're plotting against us day and night. This is what David was talking about continuously in scripture. And I'm going to go there. They can't sleep unless they come up with another plan to undermine and or destroy us, folks. Elder Lawyer, if you will, going to Christ real quick. Let's go to Matthew 11, if you will. Matthew 11. And let's start at 21.
Yes, sir. St. Matthew 11 and 21.
Yes.
Woe unto thee, Chorazin! Woe unto thee, Bethsaida!
When it says, woe unto thee, Chorazin, folks, do y'all know that Chorazin is the same exact territory for the state of Israel today? Did y'all know that? The same exact territory. This is prophetic. The same exact area of Chorazin is the state of Israel today. Let me show you all this. Hold on. One second. Let me pull it up. Look at this. Let me show you all this real quick. Chorazin. It's where? It is now the territory of modern Israel. Chorazin in the Bible is the state of Israel that came out of the Roman Byzantine periods. And folks, it's the state of Israel today, the exact territory. And that Christ was pointing out where they would be working from against God's people. Let's read it again. Read that again, Elder.
Matthew 11 and 21. Woe unto thee, Chorazin! Woe unto thee, Bethsaida!
Bethsaida, read. Now, Bethsaida is modern day Lebanon. Lebanon was taken by the Romans when Pompey sacked it, where the Edomites went into the modern day Lebanon. The modern day Lebanese are Romans. They are Edomites. And Christ said, woe to them too. When Pompey went in, he took over the land of Bethsaida, what we would call today modern day Lebanon. So unless you have the scriptures, unless you know understand Christ, you'll get caught up into the wash without seeing the big picture. Woe unto thee, Chorazin. Modern day Chorazin is the state of Israel. Woe unto thee, Bethsaida. Bethsaida is the modern day Lebanon, the Lebanese. Read.
For if the mighty works which were done in you had been done in Tyre and Zidon, they would have repented long ago.
They would have repented long ago. And then when you break down, when you look at Bethsaida, it goes all the way to the point of northeast Jordan. These are all the areas that will soon be judged by Christ in the war. All this that's going on in the Middle East, it's the heavens pulling the strings. I don't care what they say politically out here to you. It's the judgment before Christ come and put a foot in it. Woe unto you, Chorazin! Woe unto you, Bethsaida! For if the mighty works which were done in you, read,
had been done in Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes.
They would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. And when you look at Tyre and Zidon, that particular area is northeast Jordan. Read on.
22, but I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon at the day of judgment than for you.
Than for you. There's a warning. And they know they're coming at the end of their reign. They know this. They know a judgment. But what they're thinking is, if we get rid of Jacob before Christ returns, then maybe there's another opportunity to stay ruling on earth. At worst case scenario, we'll go into space and live. That's what they're thinking. But our God stated, the pride of their heart have deceived them. Now, elder lawyer, now let's go to their servant, whom they call P. Diddy. Let me make it clear. Puff Daddy runs, or Sean Combs runs absolutely nothing.
Right.
Okay. He runs absolutely nothing. What's the story was made, American Gangster. It was made after the original character.
Frank Lucas.
Frank Lucas. Frank Lucas. See, they try to put it out there like he independently went into Asia by himself and brought drugs into America and all that to destroy the hood, so that they can actually won't tell the truth concerning his connection with all these clandestine organizations. Sean Combs' father worked for Frank Lucas. That's not alleged. He'll even tell you that in some of his past documentaries. His father was killed in connection with all these organizations. Okay? His mother was tied in allegedly with some of that. And he grew up under all these different clandestine organizations, allegedly, and was made to do this. Created. Now, let's go to Cassie real quick. And then after that, we're going to go into some scriptures on Puff Daddy, because obviously if you're from a synagogue and follow the law, you shouldn't have an artist who would promote debauchery or sin, should you? Isn't that hypocritical? Now, here's a meeting, elder lawyer. Here's a meeting with Sean Combs, and I remember way back then, this is 2006, where Cassie came in with her boyfriend / producer, Ryan Leslie. That's not alleged. He said it. He had a song, Me and You, and introduced her to Bad Boy to be signed as an artist. She ended up right? Hypergamy or hypergamy, whatever. She went for the higher catch, right? But even before that, check who's in the meeting, Elder Lawyer, well after what we just seen with Bone Thugs. Obviously, everyone who's in the business is now in agreement with producing music that would lead to our women becoming streetwalkers and our men going to prison. The only people that was left were those who would agree in that meeting. 2006. Fair use. Check out this meeting when Cassie meets Sean Combs.
So I wanted to get us all together so we could get this, everybody can hear from me how focused and excited I am about the project. I wanted, Cassie to, everybody to meet Cassie. Y'all don't know that. And hear the story.
Brothers and sisters, y'all see that guy right there? 2006. Ryan Leslie. That was Cassie's man. He created Cassie. He raised Cassie in the music. He took Cassie into the meeting only to lose her to him. Thou shalt not commit adultery, anyone? Fair use for educational biblical purposes, because all types of laws are being broken at this table right now. Okay? Now.
Right.
Now. Now, before we get to the table, Elder Lawyer, I remember, because I was trying to make it into the music business. Thank the Most High that he spared me. I knew they was getting loose, but I didn't know that it went this deep. Right? Now check this out. I remember when Wendy Williams left New York City and became a disc jockey in Philadelphia. You too young to remember that. But because she was in New York, and this is not allegedly, everyone know this. She was in New York saying that there is a gay rapper behind the scenes that is popular without putting his name out there. But everyone knew who she was talking about. The control was so deep, higher than P. Diddy. She had to pack up and leave that station. And guess what? He controlled the whole business. You can't say it was just him behind these decisions. She had to leave New York and become a disc jockey in Philadelphia for years based on these allegations about what she claimed was a gay mafia really behind the scenes running the music business. Now that back then, everyone had no one was saying anything, but we all understood that, okay, it could possibly be this particular person. Not talented, came out of nowhere with all of this power. Right? Anyone who crossed him took a dirt nap. And who would believe that that's really all of his power? But let's go back to the meeting real quick, because we have to go to these scriptures. Let's check out.
Let me say something real quick. I remember that time. I remember when she first came to Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And almost every other week, anytime she would mention this guy's name, it would always be in some type of infamy involving some weird activity. So I say that to say that these things, these accusations that people are putting out have been out for years. This is not new information. A lot of the stuff. Now, some of the stuff sounds a little outrageous, what have you, but a lot of these things have been out there for years. So.
Well, I'm glad you're saying that, because we need to find out who benefits from promoting sinful behavior. And then it comes down to our people correcting themselves so to not be tempted into this sinful behavior, which puts you under what? Under the authority of Satan's servants. So I want to break this down all the way so that we don't get misdirected and everyone just have Sean Combs on the hook being looked at, as well as R. Kelly, because at the end of the day, it's our face. It's black men on trial.
Right.
And they see us as a monolith. Even if people say, well, not really, they know they see us as a monolith. You understand that? So we can't separate the two. We can come out and say, well, okay, we have nothing to do with him. But the way they control this media and all of that, it's guilty by association. And that's why I have to put it out there. Who creates a monster and allow the monster just to wreck shop, only at the end of the day to say, hold up, we need to do something about this monster. After you've squeezed every last cent you could get by utilizing him while destroying God's people. So we're going to put it where it's at. We'll agree with you that he's the monster you created and everything you're saying is true. But should you get away with creating him?
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's the question. Should you get away with creating him? Let's finish.
Directly from Miles, then really get down to some business about, just so we can be on the same page of what the plan is, as far as from Tom is concerned, and from where we're concerned as also a label and Warner Atlantic, so everybody's on the same page. I think the best thing to do is to kind of give an overview or a history of how we came to the project. Can't know where we're going unless we know.
Elder Lawyer, who's this? This guy looked pretty familiar. So there's a lot of...
Still catching up, so I can't see it.
It's okay. It's okay. It's a lot of big wigs in the room at Cassie signing. Now at this time, she's really almost engaged to Ryan Leslie, the producer who brought her to Bad Boy.
We came from Ryan is a producer that I've been working with.
Ryan
for
Leslie.
2 years. That was brought to me by Ed Woods, who Ryan assigned to their label, and also.
Someone says that's Leo Cohen in the room. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
But that's what it looks like. But I'm not sure, so I can't say definitively. But he's always showing up in a lot of wherever our people are, doing music and rap and all that. He's not too far behind. Okay.
Producer and has done some stuff for the label, and somebody's like one of my go-to people. New actors, just needing records right away. Somebody that can go in the trenches, musical genius, new age Teddy Riley, Dr. Dre, Quincy Jones, Pharrell, but to his level, in his own way. But he had something else that was very important that attracted me to.
So now he's bigging Ryan Leslie up to be the next Quincy Jones and Teddy Riley. But really, obviously, at the end of the day, his interest was in Cassie. Okay.
His situation, which was
this man right here came with his girlfriend that he produced to get a deal. He thought they were in the deal together. No one's talking about that.
He had a new logo.
Not only that, she shattered him. She broke this man's heart. He lost his beautiful woman who was innocent to the big city. That was one of the biggest regrets he stated he had in his life. Losing the love of his life, trying to help her establish a career. Ryan Leslie, look it up. It broke his heart. And no one's talking about that.
Outlook. He had a record that he didn't put out here, and he went and started going over to Europe and doing shows and starting to build a following over in Europe. And I took notice to that because I didn't really see a lot of artists that would have.
Yeah, I think L.A. Reid is in the room also.
So when he was doing that, I heard he also had a young lady that was with him named Cassie that had a record out. And I started hearing this record that was haunting me in the clubs, and it was it was Cassie's record, Me and You, and it was I would hear it everywhere I was at. And so I kept asking what record is that, and Gwen told me that it was Ryan's act, it was Cassie. When I saw her and I met her and I saw this DVD on her, hopefully we could play that. That's what kind of made me like really fall in love with the project, because I saw something more than just records. I saw something that there was a personality there. There was something that, the whole world could fall in love with.
The whole world could fall in love with. Elder Lawyer. Now, let's get scriptures, brothers and sisters, on the ilk of those that they choose to sign these agreements. Because, folks, if you think that it starts and stops with Puff Daddy, you have another thing going. They had a plan for everyone who was in that room who agreed to destroy their own people. I said this years ago, Elder Lawyer. What did I say years ago? Quote, unquote. When they see a people who's willing to betray their own, they are not to be trusted. And at the very end, knowing that you betrayed your own and sold your own people to the devil, they'll do you in before you do them in, because they know what they have created in you. You can say what you want about every other people, but they're not going to side with their people. They're not going to side with us against their own people, even if they hate someone of their own ilk.
Mm-hmm.
They will never align themselves with us to conspire to harm their own people. They'll always take the side of their people. Only our people would agree to go on their side in an effort to destroy their own. And this is now we got to drop some wisdom here. Right? Elder Lawyer, if you will. So it was a plan to put you in prison. Christ said they would put you in prison. It was the politicians working with the music industry to fill prisons, as Christ said. And then he pointed out those who would be behind the prisons, making stock off of it. He identified them in Revelations 2. Huh? No wonder they hate Christ. Elder Lawyer, now, if we will, wrapping this up.
Mm-hmm.
Elder Lawyer, let's now go to Proverbs 4. Let's go to Proverbs 4 and 14. Oh, yeah, Elder Lawyer. I already thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
When we get back from this particular, this gala, okay, this symposium, over in Augusta, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
The following weekend, either Friday or Saturday, probably Saturday, we would do an early class, 10 to 12 or something, and go set up out there where we began to teach the path to the mark. And just drop everything, what's going on, what happened in the pandemic, what's going on over there in the Middle East, how they're targeting our people, how they have agreed to allow our people to abort 400,000 babies a year. All of it we're going to drop on the streets. Now, a lot of what we teach, we're not going to be able to show, only certain clips based on the guidelines here. But all the unfiltered stuff, I'm going to find a place for it, and people will have access to it because it's time. Let's go to Proverbs 4 and 14 real quick. Let's read it.
Proverbs 4 and 14.
Let's go.
It says, enter not into the path of the wicked.
Enter not into the path of the wicked. See, but this is what was going on here. Read that again.
Enter not into the path of the wicked.
Enter not into the path of the wicked. If Ryan Leslie knew what he was bringing his innocent girlfriend into, the only thing this demented man was thinking about was how he was just thinking about how to turn her into the total reverse of who she was when Ryan Leslie brought her into that room. The only thing this man could think about was taking her innocence and destroying her soul. And that's why the Bible states what? It says, enter not into the path of the wicked. Read.
And go not into the way of evil men.
And go not in the way of evil men. Why I put that out there? Well before Ryan Leslie took her to that meeting to be signed, the reputation in the news was already out there concerning him and the people he's attached to.
Mm-hmm.
So he went into this meeting. She went into this meeting with both eyes open, thinking, and this is what happens when we deal with this stuff. I hear what people say about him, but it's not going to happen to me. And this is what happens. We always look at it. He started buying her things. And don't forget, she's from a poor upbringing. He started showing her off into places she can only dream about, not realizing he was seeking to turn this young girl out. He wanted to take her spirit. The more innocent she looked, the more he desired to take it. And guess what? That's the circle of vultures that he associates with. This is what they do. Enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. 15.
Avoid it. Pass not by it. Turn from it and pass away.
Read.
For they sleep not except they have done mischief.
Because they don't sleep unless they have harmed someone. And guess what? This man could not have harmed anyone unless he had full carte blanche. Unless he had a license to do so, because black men can't do anything. We can't even cross the street wrong without the chance of getting arrested or even worse. So don't try to sell me that this guy had some power. His power was from the extension of these people. Because they sleep not, except they have done mischief. They sleep not unless they have secret meetings on how to do more harm to God's people. And these are the receipts we brought forth tonight. They don't sleep unless they can find someone broken as a child like Sean Combs to groom. And they would only burn their asset once they already have another asset prepared to take his position. That's right, folks. He was a broken young man who was groomed. And usually when you have guys like this, who operate in the spirit of cowardice is because they're broken. So that's why he has to show off or show how much power he has or what he could do, because why? That's what they do when they're broken. That's what they do. This is how they do it, folks. They have to show people they're powerless. So to hide the little abused boy who was groomed to do what he's doing. This is how they cover themselves or hide themselves. But that little boy who was abused and all of that is there. That's what they use. And through that arrested development, they give this child, this abused child, power to hurt, as long as that hurt is directed against his own. That's how they do it. They're not worried about the monster they created because they know they have taught their pet not to bite them. For they sleep not except they have done mischief. Read.
And their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall.
And their sleep is taken away. That means they can't sleep unless before their head hit the pillow, that they've accomplished their destruction against another one of our people. 17.
Verse 17. For they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence.
For they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. Read.
But the path of the just is as the shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day.
Read.
The way of the wicked is as darkness, they know not at what they stumble.
It says the way of the wicked is as darkness, and they know not at what they stumble. And it's deep being in a conflicted place where you've done so much wrong that when you grow a conscience, you still realize you're stuck. And that's what happened with him. He started reflecting back on all the evil he did against his people, grew a conscience, and came into a meeting amongst black elite to say that he want to help our people to actually regentrify our own neighborhoods. He came in a private meeting with those same guys. And I know the elite was saying, well, hold up, man. There's no deal with you where you can help your own people. That wasn't part of that agreement in that meeting. What are you talking about? How are you going to stand on our platform on the Grammys and threaten us? How can you have a private meeting with black elites when we made all of you? We created all of you. So what happens when they grow a conscience and start to wise up? Because folks, when you get into your 40s and 50s in particular, you understand 3/4 of your life is already gone. And you begin to reflect on that young person differently. Now, I would never make no excuse for any criminal, because he knew what who he was laying down with. And he had an opportunity to walk out of that room like everyone else did. Okay? But when you get up there in 50 and you understand that 3/4 of your life is already done, you look at how you can leave a legacy outside of the trail of infamy that followed him. And I believe he's having a clash of conscience. People try to hide it with drugs and different type of psychotics and all that. And they're letting them know, listen, you can't get out. You've done too much. Your people don't trust you. And we definitely don't trust anyone who would destroy their own people. And he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. And the only power who can save him is the Almighty. He must come to Christ and repent and be willing to walk away from everything to have nothing. That'll be his only saving grace. Let's go to the 20th verse.
Verse 20. My son, attend to my words, incline thine ear unto my sayings. Let them not depart from thine eyes. Keep them in the midst of thine heart.
Now, Elder Lawyer, because everyone is online talking about this, right? And of course, I received a few messages. When you're going to say something about this or whatever the case is. A few messages came, through YouTube or whatever on the YouTube messages. But I'm checking out how people are responding to it. And every time I see the responses, I'm shaking my head. I'm shaking my head because what? It's actually having the intended effect they wanted it to have by putting out something they hid since 2016. Mm-hmm. As if they care for Cassie. Right. Who have power to call someone to clean it up and say, hey, erase that or give the tape to Sean Combs and let him take it home? If you cared about a young lady at knowing that she's being torn apart by this guy from hotel to hotel, then the hotel's your people own. Mm-hmm. And y'all, you know what he's using this girl for, and you are allowing it only to be used as blackmail later. Because there's nothing that I've seen on any of these videos concerning this guy that I'm surprised about. Mm-hmm. The question is, who created him and why did y'all allow him to go that night without being arrested? Why did y'all allow somebody to get shot in the club way back when J-Lo was in her prime to let him go and no one was arrested but a fall guy? Mm-hmm. Who's really behind the monster? Christ have identified them. And those who walk in their paths and agree with them will get the very same thing. Because guess what? They don't have no allegiance to any man, especially our people. The only allegiance they have is to their father, the devil. Let's finish this off, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Verse 21. Let them not depart from thine eyes, keep them in the midst of thine heart. For they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh.
Read.
Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life.
Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. See? The enemy will always have a scenario where, okay, I can do this and make you rich overnight if you're willing to sign this. And the Lord is like, nah. You may receive some blessings in life, but they'll be well deserved and you'll be able to sleep at night for your hard earned. It's not like the Most High isn't going to bless you, but it's going to be through a righteous path where the blessings is something that you can actually appreciate and thank the Most High for. It's nothing like laying down knowing that the money you're spending, the food you're eating, the house you're living in, and know that in your conscience, it's all blood money at the expense of your children, burning them to Moloch at the expense of your own family, the children of Israel, the black man. There's nothing like, he can't even lay down right in all of his expensive houses and all that because he understands that his house was built on blood. And it's our people who always are looking for the shortcut instead of saying, you know what? I'd rather go the long way and be able to sleep at night than to compromise with these people, these vultures, who are always seeking the death of the children of Israel. Let's finish it up, Elder Lawyer. 24.
Yes, sir. Verse 24. Put away from thee a froward mouth, and perverse lips put far from thee.
Put away from me a froward mouth. Perverse lips put far from me. Read.
Let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyelids look straight before thee.
Read.
Ponder the path of thy feet, and let all thy ways be established. Turn not to the right hand nor to the left. Remove thy foot from evil.
And see, let me tell you, when these children are groomed to do what he's doing, a lot of people don't know, Elder Lawyer, that Sean Combs' father was a direct, he was a direct underling of Frank Lucas and was killed in the game. So there was a lot of different organizations operating in that house where they could raise him to be what he became. Right? Now, what happens real quick, Elder Lawyer, when as a child you're violated under these quote unquote alleged sex ritual parties? Because folks, what Sean Combs did wasn't independent of himself. What he continued to do, which is evil. These are ritualistic actions he learned amongst elite circles. Okay? So what happens when one take on those spirits? This is how the devil can use these people who have been compromised sexually. And that's why we always hear about these sex scandals, not realizing the ritualistic side of it as a form of not just blackmail, but control. When they do these certain acts, certain demons enter them, which makes them obedient slaves to the masters. And all of the evil in these people can now be directed into destroying those whom the overlords deemed, who they deem enemy. So they must first compromise them sexually because a certain spirit come in. Paul talked about this, Elder Lawyer. You know where I'm going. Let's go to the book of Romans, the 1st chapter. So when they compromise themselves, now the dark overlords can use those spirits to cause chaos in our communities. Therefore, begin to pack the prisons. It's quite that simple. They must get you to compromise your morality sexually. Okay? That's why they have that component on the dark side in their businesses and all that, allegedly. Because it produces something contrary to God, anti-God, anti-Christ. And now that person can become weaponized against those who believe. Elder Lawyer, if you will, let's go to the book of Romans. Let's go straight down to Romans 1:25.
Yes, sir. Romans 1:25.
No, matter of fact, let's go to 23. And all this is good. Let's go to 20.
Verse 20. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse.
So the Bible states plainly, for the invisible things of him, that means God, from the creation of the world, are clearly seen, being understood by things that are made. He made male and female, period, to bring forth life. That's it. There's only two sex. There's only two, male and female, period, according to the creation. Period. Even his eternal Godhead, male, female, that's right, the Holy Spirit, wisdom, is effeminate. The Most High is masculine, and through the two came life. The Spirit that will become what? The first begotten of the Father, Christ himself. 21.
Because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened.
So the first step in becoming a servant of Satan is to claim God doesn't exist, or to make bold, ridiculous, stupid claims that, and I hear our people saying this all day, we're gods.
Mm-hmm.
Utterly ridiculous. You don't see no other people running around claiming to be gods. On the bottom of everyone.
Right.
How can you claim to be a god when all the other nations are above you? Nonsense. So what happens? You start to believe you're a god. You're invincible. You're untouchable. 22.
Verse 22. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools.
Come on.
And changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image like unto corruptible man, and to birds and four-footed beasts and creeping things. Wherefore God gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves.
Read.
Who changed the truth of God into a lie, and worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen.
Who started twisting nature? The devil.
Right.
Who began to have man question whether or not God exists? The devil. He know the Most High exists. He's the reason. Our God is the reason their God is stuck here. He know he exists. So then, since he cannot have his place amongst the stones of fire, amongst the mountain of God, Satan himself sought to turn everything in God's green earth upside down. And then what happens? 26 for this cause.
26.
Because man will hear this new age Babylonian garbage that comes from the Gentiles and not believe in the true and living God, the God of Israel.
For this cause God gave them up unto vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature.
To change the women against nature, to make them desire, because they don't want to accept their true nature in obedience and submission to a man. The Most High said, since you don't want to deal with my order is in heaven and it will be on earth. Well, if you don't want to deal with my order and submit, then in your mind, you'll be justified laying down with a woman, even though no life can come from it. In essence, what you're doing is just killing your own name and your own species, if I can use that word for those who don't believe right now. You're destroying the future of your own existence. So since you don't want to submit, your desire will be to other women, and eventually you'll just die off with no name, no legacy, and be forgotten. See? Some people think they're hurting others or hurting men by laying down with other women and all that. You're not. That's a vile affection. That's on you. There's no men envying that particular, not no real man anyway, envying that sick, demented type of operation outside of God. 27, let's read it. And likewise,
27, and likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error, which was meet.
So see what happens to men? These men, because they don't want to honor God, they get in all these elite groups, and now they must compromise their manhood by allowing their overlord to take theirs. To take their manhood. Burned in their lust one toward another. Now, the only way when you've been violated by your paymasters is to feel some level of authority is to now make a casting couch for men who would like to participate in your business. Since you cannot, your overlords have taken your manhood, now the only instance you have to feel some level of courage or bravery as a man is to do the same thing to others. And that's where we are, folks, in this business. There's a reason why they put a certain people over the entertainment business. Because it's not just the act itself. We're talking about the demons that enter when you compromise his nature. These are the tools Satan can use in the earth to destroy mankind in every sense of the word. A lower population. Then they'll get in positions of influence where they can now have straight men and straight women go against each other in a war, a never-ending war, while the Satanists are sitting back laughing because what? They have the demented in authority over your airwaves, over these programs. They are writing scripts that would have straight people hate straight people. And our people have fallen for it. What better way to stake claim to a position without judgment than to say, well, you can't say anything about us. You guys believe in God and look at you. So they put certain people who are I'm going to tell you, folks, these people are riddled with demons. Can't even sleep at night. These are the people they put in position of authority over us intentionally, over our social programs, over our businesses, over the entertainment business, so that we have to compromise our morality to get out of poverty. And that's the sad thing. Because when Sean Combs seen this innocent girl, he didn't look at her on how to protect her innocence and keep her this innocent. I'm going to show you the spirit when they see the innocence, what they're thinking. Because someone innocent have these demented people begin to look inward to think of themselves, of how sinister and evil they might be in comparison to someone who isn't sinning. And they begin to do what? They begin to resent innocence. They say, you know what? I remember when I was a kid and I looked like that. My eyes was like that. Full of ambition, full of life, full of excitement, full of the hopes to fulfill my dreams. And my innocence was taken by these so-called execs. And they begin to resent innocence and they say, you know what? We're not going to be done. We're not going to be done until what? We're not going to be done until we turn her. until she look at this. We're not going to be done. Look at this. Until we take her innocence. Now they're satisfied. See? Now they're satisfied. And look at this, folks. Do these look like the same people? Look at this. And look at this. Before the industry and after the industry. You think this is just Puff Daddy? You think this is just Sean Combs? No. It is the same person. Look in her eyes. This girl, she on the surface is the same person. I'm going to show you. Look in her eyes. And look in her eyes. Elder Lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Let's go to 28. What happens when they begin to turn over? And that's why they have these rituals and have these girls and guys enter into these, I would say, non-traditional, according to God, relationships when you enter the business. Because it's deeper than compromising and having something on you for blackmail. That's just one part of it. There's something else. There's a spirit that comes with it. Read 28. Read that.
Verse 28. Even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient.
So since they didn't want to retain God in their knowledge, which means growing up, they knew better. They had a fear of God. And since they would rather let that go for the business or to advance in this world, he said, you know what? God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do things which are not convenient, unlawful. 29.
Being filled with all unrighteousness,
Now
fornication.
Check out all the spirits that enter people who choose that lifestyle. And this is how Satan can use them.
Right.
Now that you believe God no longer exists, or that you're God, you have free reign to become all of this without judgment. Being filled with all unrighteousness, what?
Fornication, wickedness, covetousness.
Now, when it says
maliciousness.
fornication, which means unlawful sexual behavior, maliciousness, you become malicious, vengeful. Okay, in business and within your family structure, you become malicious, full of envy. What drives you is envying others in your same business. You're not satisfied. You're continually competing with everyone else, full of envy, never satisfied. Read.
Murder,
debate,
deceit,
malignity, whispers, because then you will get a contract to spread your demons even more. Okay? You'll get reality TVs where there's nothing but fighting, debauchery, and all of these behaviors come into the forefront as entertainment. And all of this leads to prison, folks. All of it. Talking about people, saying things that you have no business. Starting trouble. Someone's going to die here. Someone's going to jail. So they need people in these behaviors because why? People who exhibit these behaviors could never have a peaceful rest. The demons haunts them continually in them. So how do they release this? They release it on society through these behaviors. 30.
Verse 30, backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment.
Now check it out, Elder Lawyer. Everything that I've just mentioned, you can see exactly what the controllers creates. When one talks about people like P. Diddy, you think they only have behavior of someone abusing somebody, or even worse, strictly on him?
Right.
He's just the one that's up for it now. He's a domino to fall now. R. Kelly was a domino. Folks, they got another domino already set up right after they get finished with him. Covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful. Why they allow these people who have these particular types of hang-ups, these mental illnesses I'm seeing here, why do they give these people power? See? Why? So that these people can become gates for the demons to destroy anyone in their wake.
Right.
They're gateways. That's all. Facilitators. And those high priests that they be that their managers be taking them to, they know that. They be blessed by their high rabbis and all those things. And guess what? Hey, don't worry about it. We'll direct the spirits that way. We'll go pray on your records and all of that. We'll go and put demons prayer on your records and allow it to destroy your community. You're just who we're going to use as the gate to get to them.
Right.
They'll give you all the shows you want because they know the demons that are haunting you. They know they understand that you are riddled with them. But guess what? But you don't know how to control them. So they'll make sure you get all the drugs you need to at least keep them at bay to some degree. See? So you can manage the demons, but they don't want you to let the demons go because the controllers, the high wizards, they know how to actually use you and use every demon to destroy your community. They know how to actually aim those spirits in you in a time that's fit for them. We're talking about high witchcraft that's connected to the music business. They want you with all these spirits in you because now they can set up the productions so that now you can now spew these demons throughout the earth to destroy mankind. Satan's plan executed at its perfection. And 32 reads what? Who knowing
the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them.
And that's the answer for those who claim that this type of behavior isn't spoken of in the New Testament.
Right.
It's right here. Because what comes from all of that behavior is death. And this is why they put those who actually deal with this type of sexual behavior in all high positions as taskmasters over God's people. Folks, these people aren't running their people. They're the new taskmasters for us. And don't believe they just have black ones, okay, who's getting away with this. Last but not least, Elder Lawyer, before we open it up for some calls, Sirach 9 and 7. 9, and this is for, here's some wisdom for you young men out there. Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, the 9th chapter. 9. Some wisdom for the young men out there.
Sirach 9 and 7.
Hold on, let me get it, Elder Lawyer. Let's start at 2.
Verse 2.
A matter of fact, a matter of fact. Yeah, let's start at 2. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Sirach 9 and 2. Give not thy soul unto a woman to set her foot upon thy substance.
Man, let's start at 1. It's all good.
Verse 1. Be not jealous.
Because these are the things where once you're operating outside of the spirit, like so-called P. Diddy, and like other men too. At any time, keep in mind and understand this, and there's no slight to any side whatsoever. I'm just saying this in general. Okay? Here's the playbook for the enemy to take down a man. You want to know what the enemy uses over and over again? Because they understand the only one who can rival them are men who are of the children of Israel. So the enemy, like the serpent, uses the same tool over and over again. The first thing he thinks about when it comes to someone that he cannot rival or take down is to find someone close to him that they can use as a tool to take them. Usually, with all these men out there in the business, there's some woman out there who's been slighted or is willing to take the bag to take them down. And they know it. Because why? What happens is when people get in the business, they become idols, arrogant, feel they're untouchable, and begin to step on other people. So it's nothing for these guys now to go back and find someone that these people have stepped over or stepped on. And usually it's a woman. Read Sirach 9 and 1.
9 and 1. Be not jealous over the wife of thy bosom, and teach her not an evil lesson against thyself.
And it says, and teach her not a evil lesson against thyself. Okay? So if someone cares for you, you must continually, they have to be on your side to the end. Be not jealous over the wife of thy bosom. And that's talking about the challenging and all these other things. Or be resentful of your wife or your woman or whatever. And teach her not an evil lesson against thee. Something that she can use to destroy you later. Because the enemy is going to tap her in due time. See? Cassie, anyone? 2.
Give not thy soul unto a woman to set her foot upon thy substance.
Young men, men in general, give not thy soul unto a woman to set her foot upon thy substance. If you're meeting a woman and the first thing she asks is how much money you have and what you can do for her, about face, run as fast as you can. She's a woman of no substance. Not that what you have shouldn't be discussed, but she shouldn't lead with that. That's a warning to the wise. Give not my soul unto a woman to set her foot upon thy substance. And see, this goes into, and I have to go back to the original video of her with one man, and then with hypergamy, went and got a better catch that she could brag. And listen, I'm with a man who controlled the business. See? That's just one instance, since I'm keeping it in context. But on another level, Some women make choices based on how much substance a man has. And the Bible states, give not thy soul unto a woman to set her foot upon thy substance, which means a man with morals, knowing that this woman has a man and saying, well, listen, I'm willing to, jump bait and be with you. A man would have been like, well, hold up. No, because if you do it to him, you'll do it to me. Mm-hmm. No, he has a deal. You have a deal. I'm not going to do that to that man. But she's seen something bigger. Why should I be with the man who's asking for the deal when I can be with the man who's giving out all the deals? And the Bible says, well, hold up. A man said, if a woman come for substance, be like, well, nah, I'm good. Because that means you will sacrifice your morals to get to the top. So, and no one's, this is not saying that, given any level of agreement to what this man has done. Let's make it clear. But there's enough wrong in all of this business.
Right.
Third verse, Elder Lawyer.
Verse 3, meet not with an harlot, lest thou fall into her snare.
And this is talking about what? The wisdom. Meet not with a harlot. A woman who exchange her services, for things. Meet not with her, lest thou fall into her snares. Why? Because the enemy will find her later, especially if you become something. And now you're getting Bill Cosby. Okay, hold on. Let me fix this. And now, let me fix this. Hold on. And now you're getting Bill Cosby. Hold on. That's it. Because they'll find them. Those lawyers will find someone in your past to use against you. Right? Fourth verse.
Verse 4. Use not much
listen,
the company.
Listen, and someone says outright, yeah, be equally yoked. Be equally yoked. And that's on either side. That was a good point, Monica, you made. Because why? Sometimes we think that with the power and the knowledge the Most High have in us, that we can find someone who don't believe and get them on our page.
Right.
And they're looking at you like you have two heads, like you're starch crazy. Like, no, this ain't the life. They'll look at you like, hold up, you've deceived me. If anything, you should have led with this. You believe what? Okay, because my tree tilts at the ceiling. I can't even put a star on my tree, my Christmas. They'll tell you, listen, I got a tree that's so big, I have to bend it to put it in my house. So you should have led with this no Christmas stuff. See, and that's why the Bible says, be not unequally yoked. Sometimes you have to be patient. 4.
Verse 4. Use not much the company of a woman that is a singer.
Read that again.
Use not much the company of a woman that is a singer.
Use not the company of a woman that is a what?
That is a singer.
That is a singer. Who knew the Bible said that? That a man should think twice about a woman who sings. Why?
Lest thou be taken with her attempts.
Lest thou be taken with her attempts. See, that's wisdom. See, back in the old days, there was no record players. There weren't no TVs and movies and all that. So the theater were the artists, the singers back in ancient times. But one thing about the singers, Elder Lawyer, is they had access to all of the elite places where only the high class would frequent. So they had access to the low people, the middle people, the high people, and another thing they had was information. So singers would be what? They would be like the birds on the ground for the elite, to start trouble, to cause wars, all of that, because they were able to get into places others couldn't. You heard about that girl who sings, she sings like a dove, and now she's singing for the king, and now another king have her come with a person who's an assassin to help carry some of her clothing to take out another king. It's talking about not underestimating the power of women. And over and over and over and over again, spies, exactly. They used to use singers as spies, assassins, all of that. So here it is. You think the synagogue of Satan and all these people, they don't know the old tricks, that at the end of the day, when they have nothing at all and have made someone powerful to get a woman or women to take them down? See, this is the reason why you didn't see the video in 2016 when it happened. See? When anyone discuss using their power for their own people, it's over. It's over. (515-605-9327). I can only take calls for 30 minutes. And at the end of the day, when you look at all of this, and why am I going into this, Elder Lawyer? Because why? The music business is not just, Elder Lawyer, it's not just the music component. It's the political component for control. Also, it's a component where women are used for their sexuality. Harlotry is a part of the business to draw men in to get compromised. And the wisdom of the scriptures warn us of this. These are the devices Satan will use. And the music business have all of these intertwined into one package.
Right. That's why it says, lest thou be taken with their attempts. With the ability to sing comes the art of seduction. Exactly.
And this is why usually when they hire singers or entertainers today, it's about selling sex. Mm-hmm. Sukiana, Sexy Red, on and on and on. They packaged all of this demon activity into one business and quantify it to be utilized as a weapon to destroy who they will. And at the end of the day, how do they benefit? Through death, getting rid of our people, and to have us work for free in their prisons. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. What are you willing to do in order to escape their traps? Okay, let's see. All right, let me see if Blog Talk is working. Oh, it's working. Thank you, Elder Ramar. All right, Elder Lawyer, 1 second, if you will. If you want to take a break, you can. I'll take calls for about 30 minutes, and then we'll call it a night.
Or you bring in the calls. There's just a few things I wanted to say on this topic.
Okay, I didn't know, Elder Lawyer. Hey, sometimes you be saying, oh, good. Hey, I'm going to let you flow.
Yes, sir.
515-605-9327. We have 17 minutes. If you'd like to get in on this, thank you, Elder Lawyer. Hey, I'm with you. What you got, Elder Lawyer?
Before I say anything, let me first say this. And I know we've been saying this throughout the course of this broadcast, but I know that you're going to have some very low-level thinking people come across this who only deal with low-level fruit. And what they're going to do is that the only conclusion they're going to draw based on this conversation is that somehow we are excusing or agreeing with the activity of P. Diddy. Which I'm going to say again, as the elder have stated throughout the course of this broadcast, we do not agree with anything that this man is accused of, anything this man may have done. We don't agree with what's showed in the video on any level whatsoever. So I want to make that clear again for those who may come across this and try to draw that conclusion, even though based on this conversation, really, if you listen to it in full, you cannot draw that conclusion because we went into where he has gone wrong and how he has been used. However, there's another side of this, right? You may mention earlier that when you've gone through different comments, through different videos, and you're seeing what people are saying out there in the social media sphere, the only thing you can do is shake your head. And I too would have to agree with that assessment. Again, not that we agree, not that we're making excuses, not that we believe that he is totally innocent of anything that he's accused of, so on and so forth. Not for that reason. For the reason of this. There's two things we see that I see going on right now, and I'm pretty sure you all see the same thing, and that's groupthink and fake outrage. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that in a few moments. But for those of you who may be wondering why when we see this stuff, when we hear this stuff, we don't get tossed to and fro with our emotions. The reason we don't get tossed to and fro is because we understand that this stuff that's coming out on P. Diddy, not only is it not new, not only can we go into the Bible and show you the origin of it, we also understand that the industry has been built on it. And unless you're going to expose the whole industry, our question is, what are you talking about? As long as you're going to highlight one person, like they did, I hate to keep bringing up R. Kelly, when they were bringing him up, you would have thought that by getting rid of him, you would have stopped all of the improprieties taking place in the industry with young women, young girls. You'd have thought that would have disappeared with getting rid of R. Kelly. And the way they're going in on P. Diddy, you would think that the bad contracts, the misuse of women, and the wild parties, you would think all of that would disappear once they get rid of P. Diddy. When the reality is, again, P. Diddy is just a puppet. The industry, whether it's Hollywood, whether it's the movie industry, or any of these industries, they are built on the activity that he's being accused of. Now, I mentioned that we can go into the Bible and show you the origin of this stuff. I'm going to give a few quick scriptures dealing with this, from the many facets that have been coming out, the many things we've been hearing, from the activity and the parties and all of those different things. We're going to show you, according to the Bible, the origin of this stuff.
Okay, what you got?
On to 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse number 10.
Okay, let's grab it.
And in doing so, not only are we going to identify the P. Diddy's of the world, and I say the P. Diddy's because we understand that he is not the only one. He is just one puppet of many. Not only are we going to identify P. Diddy and the likes, we're also going to identify the architects, those who create the P. Diddy's and the likes. Going to the book of 1 Maccabees 1 and verse 10.
1 Maccabees 1 and 10.
It says here, and there came out of them a wicked root named Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. What is this showing? This is showing Antiochus, who in our time would be one of what you would call the architects, the overseers,
controller,
the overlords, exactly. The controller. Now, What about the P. Diddy's of the world? Well, that's in verse 11. In those days there went out of Israel wicked men, not a wicked man, not one person, but wicked men. Why? Because there's more than one. Just like there was more than one back then, there's more than one now. There went out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, as Elder stated earlier, how P. Diddy was used to do what? To influence, to persuade a certain lifestyle, a certain death style, which would lead to the destruction and the detriment of our people. And as long as he did that, he was okay with the architects. He was okay with the overlords. He was okay with the overseer. It goes on to say, he persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen. And that's exactly what P. Diddy did. He made a covenant, he made an agreement, he signed a contract with the heathen. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. What is this showing you? That none of these guys, the P. Diddy's and the likes, none of these guys do what they do without license. None of these guys do what they do without first being allowed. Someone allowed them to do the activity. Someone allowed P. Diddy to do what he did for many years. And like I said earlier, none of this stuff we're not really hearing anything new that we have not heard over the years concerning P. Diddy. Which leads me to the comment about the fake outrage, as if everyone now is upset, they're shocked, they're clutching their pearls, having a heart attack because of what they're hearing. That's crap. We've been hearing this stuff is not new. So all of this stuff that this whole game people are playing as if they're so shocked now. It's a game. It's just that. It's a joke. Okay?
So
we're reading on. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Elder Lawyer, I'm going to let you read on, right? But also check this out. You have the girl from Philadelphia, the singer.
Jaguar, right.
Jaguar, yeah. She from off Ridge Avenue. And you know what? She's throwing all types of bombs, right? But she continually throw Clive Davis' name as the one who created P. Diddy. She keeps saying this, right? Allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
Where is the media attention and the outrage towards him? At all. And that's an instance of what you were just bringing forth, that they're given license, but the people who they go to get the contracts or get put on, no one is holding them to the task or bringing them into the front of the congregation. Why?
Exactly.
But go on, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Moving on to the next point, because speaking about those who give the license, those who give allowance, the architects, everyone has been talking about P. Diddy and his parties and the wild things that go on in the parties, again, as if he created those types of parties. We're going to show you, according to the Bible, where those types of parties originated and who was involved with those types of parties. You're going to find out that it's the forefathers of the same people who are over the media who are now kicking his back in. Going to the book of 2 Maccabees 7. Let's see how they party, since everyone want to talk about the P. Diddy parties. Let's see how they get down. Let's see how they party.
2 Maccabees 7.
2 Maccabees 7:1. And everything, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but everything we're about to read is taking place at a party. 2 Maccabees 7:1 says, and it came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh, and were tormented with scourges and whips. So this was their entertainment at a what? A party. Since everybody want to talk about wild parties and all what takes place. Again, we don't agree with any of it, but we have to ask the question, where did he get it from? Where did he learn it from? It says here in verse number 2, but one of them spake first, said, What wouldest thou ask or learn of us? We are ready to die, rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers. Then the king, being enraged, commanded pans and cauldrons to be made hot, which forthwith being heated, he commanded to cut out the tongue of him that spake first, and to cut off the utmost parts of his body, the rest of his brethren and his mother looking on. So again, this was entertainment at a party for the heathen. This is how they party.
This is how they get down. They cutting people up, shooting people. They don't know. There's some girl was found outside of the palace when the Queen of England was living. There was some girl who found outside the palace after a party that night that no one talked about. Story went away.
Exactly. Let's think about this. John the Baptist. How did John the Baptist die?
At a party. Beheaded.
At a party. Beheaded as what? A party favor.
And you know what? That makes perfect sense to where Sean Combs learned this demented behavior and to believe that you are above the law by actually executing some of these heinous crimes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he has seen many crimes go unchecked, right? So to him, just doing what we're witnessing, that's par for the course compared to what he have witnessed.
Right.
Right? So I'm just saying, it's really the kettle. It's the pot calling the kettle black.
Right.
Like they only do this. Don't forget they're about to release Weinstein, and no one is saying anything. Mm-hmm. But go on, other lawyer, because I got. Matter of fact, hold on, lawyer. Let me get into the call so they don't have to create another one. One moment.
Go ahead. I'll cut it right there. That's fine.
You sure?
Yes, sir. That's fine.
All right. One second.
I will only say this. The only thing we're asking is Matthew 7:1 says, "Judge not that ye be not judged. With judgment ye judge, ye shall also be judged. And with what measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you again." If you're going to judge him according to this standard, don't just stop with him. Open up the files on everybody. Bring out the tapes on everybody. If he was able to hide tapes.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hold on.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please hold and you will be able to listen to the show.
Oh, okay. Let's say what you just said.
Yeah, but what I was saying is, according to Matthew 7:2, it says, "For what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye mete it, it shall be meted to you again." The only thing we're asking you to do is not to forbid him from having to do any time for any crimes he may have committed. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that if you're going to judge him according to this standard, don't just stop with him. Open up the files on everybody. Open up the tapes on everybody. If he was able to purchase tapes or have tapes hidden from the public view, who else has tapes that are hidden from the public view that need to be seen, that need to be judged?
Yeah.
Don't just stop with them.
Yeah,
So
if you're going to...
That's the thing we're asking.
And that's right, lawyer. If you're going to burn it down, let's not start and stop with P. Diddy.
Right.
If it's that heinous, burn it all down. Expose all of them. Everyone that have been to the parties, everyone who've been victimized, even those that are above him. Okay, we're talking about the owner of Universal and all these others who have also been on record to have been in this particular house. Okay, and again, people might get mad because we don't throw anyone under the bus. We show you the evil. We show you the spirit of what happens when children are abused. But no one is getting in front of these boys that are getting abused that can be utilized as the next P. Diddy.
Right.
When are we going to connect those dots and see there's a certain profile they use? And it's usually compromised boys. When are we going to protect our boys from getting assailed by adults? Let's see.
You are now in the host queue.
All right, I'm in the host queue. All praises be to the Most High. Let's see here.
Unmuted.
All right, we have Liz with a comment. 515-605-9327. You have 1 minute to get in before the lines close. 515-605-9327. You have 1 minute before the calls are closed, okay? Yes, how are you doing, Liz?
I'm fine. Shalom, Elder.
Shalom, how you doing, Liz?
I'm fine. I just want to say that this is an excellent topic. We were just talking about this recently at work. And
Do me a favor, turn us off in the back. You have us playing in the background on YouTube. Turn down YouTube.
Okay. Yep. So one
Thank
thing
you.
that we were talking about at work was, and I had asked them, I said, the man that Cassie's married to now, I said, did he not go in there to train? I said, did he go in there to sleep with her or to marry her? I said, but to me, it seems that man was sent in there to stop the destruction. Not to say that what he did was good, because like I told him, I said, what he's done is absolutely deplorable. Everything he's done is wrong. I said, but everything that he has done was taught to him, and they allowed him to get away with it. Somewhere along the line, it seems that he didn't want to go along with what they were telling him to do. So now it's time to destroy him. And it seems that us women, especially us women of color, we want to glorify and bringing our men down. And I have to say that I said, I'm a mother of a man, and there's so many things stacked against our boys out here, our men. I said, and a lot of us don't teach these things to our sons, that, the wrong woman and, being around the wrong person. And it's just disheartening how we look at things now and we're like, oh, he's wrong, he's this, he's that. Yeah, but his mother, to me, took part in the way he was doing whatever he was doing too. Because me as a mother, I would have never allowed my son to do the things that he was doing when he first started out.
Yeah. Well,
and, I yield.
Well, another thing before you yield, I have up here. A lot of people don't know. A day after the case was settled. Well, let me show you something. The day after the case was settled, he settled that case quick. That $30 million. I'm sure he didn't know that hallway thing was going to come out after that, but the day after he paid the money, whatever it was, I know they initially asked for $30 million. This picture was posted on Twitter of her and her husband. All right. Husband name is Alex Fine. Okay. Now, what temple he go to worship, I'll let y'all deal with that. But they put up a tweet, I think on Instagram or something. They put up this picture flossing in fur coats. And I'll tell you this, hey, I guess the future of Mr. Alex Fine looks bright, because all that blood money that came through the industry is going to go to these children right here, and he'll be left with nothing.
And the problem is, if he's no good, then his money should be no good either. And the fact that somebody will want somebody's money, and if they treated them so bad, I wouldn't want anything that person had.
Well,
and I don't think anybody thinks.
Well, hey, that's not the way of the world. I'm with you, but hey, I don't agree with what happened to her, and I believe that he should pay for what he did. But all in all, hey, what a strategy! What a strategy! Hey, that's the game. Thank you, sister. That's the game.
Shalom.
Shalom. Well, there'll be no legacy money for the Combs, I'll tell you that. Okay. It all belongs back with who it came from at the end of the day. It circles around. Okay. There'll be no Generational wealth for the future Combs. Let's see here.
Muted.
1 second.
Unmuted.
Okay, we have Mike with a question. 323.
Hi, Shalom.
Oh, is that Mike or Mika? I'm sorry, Mika. How are you? Shalom, Mika.
I'm fine. Shalom. I just have like 3 questions.
Yes.
The first question is about Crazy Bones. I know like how the man of sin is very, very patient, and they'll seek to get you much later. They'll even wait.
Hold
years.
up. There's too much noise in the background for me to hear you clearly.
Okay. Let me just take off my Bluetooth. It's probably my Bluetooth.
It sounds as if is YouTube playing in the background?
No.
Okay, it sounds like a TV or something. But go on. All right, go on.
Yeah, they have a radio on. Crazy Bone was just deathly ill. He barely made it alive. I think he had like some type of disease in his blood. Do you think like that could have something to do with it?
I don't know. I just know that a lot of people went out under weird circumstances, under suspicious circumstances. From what happened with Al B. Shore, who almost lost his life, who was connected there. Heavy D, who lost his life earlier, who had that connection with Bad Boy and others and other companies. Mm-hmm. So who knows? And the business is evil in of itself. But I got to put you on hold since there's too much noise in the background. I'm sorry.
Okay. Shalom.
Right. Shalom. 469 area code.
Hello?
Oh, yeah. Please cut us off in the background, sister.
Oh, yes. Okay. Give me one quick second. Okay. Hello?
Yes. Good evening. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm blessed by the Almighty. What say you? What you got for us?
Yeah, so I've been thinking a whole lot about, what's been happening with our brothers and sisters in the rap industry.
Yeah.
And I think about also how our brothers and sisters, how expressive we are, even within the Israelite community as well, and how we also make what we call truth music, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes down to truth music, like the origin of it is rap.
Okay.
Right? And like if we think about the idea of rap today, like where does it come from? Like who is the god of rap?
I don't know. Who you think it is?
Well, in my opinion, I don't think that is the God that we serve.
Okay. Well, the whole thing is I can't co-sign that because that's an opinion.
Okay.
Right. I can't say definitively that what you're saying is correct because I remember Fight the Power.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I remember Grassroots with, a matter of fact, with KRS-One, who broke down that with the 12 tribes of Israel. Mm-hmm. Right? So mm-hmm. I can't say in of itself that rap music is evil music. Right? If someone is speaking truth and it's in the spirit of the truth, then it's truth. Okay, if it's righteous, it's righteous. If it's unrighteous, someone's saying, it's really, a cadence more so of talking with music in the backdrop. Okay. That's really what it is in a nutshell. It's what you're willing to put out there. So you can't say rap in particular was evil, right? When you can see that the enemy sat down in an orchestrated meeting and said, we're going to actually control this and put a certain a certain type of gangster and killing behind it to utilize it to pack prisons. Now, what they turned this into is from the devil. If it was from the devil, they wouldn't have intervened to redirect it.
Right.
And what I'm
that's what I
so believe it or not, what I'm like poetry, like I'm saying, like I believe what we see in truth music is really picking up from where it was redirected. I believe that anybody didn't come in with all this other crap, we would have been talking about this truth of our people being Israel in music right after KRS-One did it. And KRS-One did that in '89. That was the movement of where this was going. Stop the violence.
Right.
Stop the violence. Self-destruction. We're headed for self-destruction. KRS-One, when he started breaking down that Abraham was a black man, Shem was a black man, right? From Africa. He says, if you repeat that fact, they can't laugh at you. He went to Shem and the 12 tribes of Israel, saying that we were the 12 tribes of Israel. And this was '89. And then all of a sudden they have a moguls meeting 2 years later to say, we need to use this to redirect it for prison. We want to promote sex, criminality, and evil behavior using the rap genre. So no, I can't say in of itself rap is wrong. Okay. You can't do that. Sin is sin. Right? So it's too ambiguous. Now, and you know, there's some people that have different tastes when it comes to music. And I'm one who have done music all my life, can find some appreciation in all of it. Right? Kendrick Lamar is something different. All right? The way he put words together and how he expresses himself and what's in his mind. That's what I'm saying. So I can't, it's what you're willing to use your gift for. That comes down to whether or not it's from the Most High or the devil. It's dependent on who you're willing to use it for. Okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, I definitely understand that. And I guess I wasn't really trying to get at rap being bad. I was really thinking about the image of rap. Yeah. And the minds of people when they see, idols rapping, and the beats, them getting in tune with the vibration, even if it was truth music or not.
Sister, I'm with you, but you can say the same thing when it comes to songs, singers. I can show you some. I mean, have you ever seen punk rock? That song is straight
I'm not
from
familiar. No,
yeah. The old rock.
You said punk rock?
Punk rock.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
We're talking about instruments and singers from like they crawled out of hell. Okay? So there's some clear defined music that you can say outright is Satan music. Okay? There's some songs out there, singers. Right. There's singing music that we can say, well, okay, these songs are nice. Like, what do you think about some of R. Kelly songs? You think they're from the devil?
Well, yep. Well, that is very subjective. I mean,
it's subjective. Now, okay.
Right, it is.
Hold tight. My mind is saying no. But my body is telling me yes. I don't want to hurt nobody. Okay, all right. So I'm sure I'm sure you had some serious moments with that happening.
Right. Well, I mean, but what about in between the husband and the wife? When you play a song like that,
Okay.
like does that make it unrighteous then? You know?
Well, I'm just saying though. I'm giving you an example. So there's a lot of subliminals out there that you can say, well, okay, there's different types of music that does lean towards evil activity. So I don't like to go. So I don't like to go that route because you can find something wrong in any genre of music. All right. Thank you, sister.
Okay.
So we're not gonna.
Yes, sir.
No, because we got some brothers that are really. And think about this, sister. If the enemy was using rap music to influence our people in an effort to destroy the community that have been destroyed, to pack their prisons. I need y'all to think about that. And brothers and sisters are already on that wavelength within this generation. Isn't it beneficial from our side to use where they are with the art form they appreciate to do the reverse? See that? The enemy came in and stole something that didn't belong to him. We created this out of the grassroots because there was no other way out of poverty outside of expressing what was going on amongst ourselves. They came in and redirected that. It wasn't theirs. So now, since our people, the youth, have come accustomed to appreciating that, guess what? We're just taking back what we created and praise the Most High, and to praise the Most High with it. There's a difference. All right?
Right.
Thank you, my sister.
Yes, sir. I definitely, I appreciate that.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
609 area code.
Before you go, Elder Ricard, there's just one comment I wanted to respond to in the comments very quickly.
Sure, Elder Lawyer, go on.
Now, the only reason I'm pointing this out is because I know that this mindset as well will be out there when people come across this video.
What's
and it
that?
says, I think we get too caught up with all this evil stuff in Hollywood, comparing wrong for wrong. We should just ignore all of that altogether and instead focus on what is the overall goal. And I think that, let me just say this. P. Diddy is just the tool that we're using to convey an overall message of how the media is used to take a person who one day was their darling, person who they once used and knew they were dealing with all types of things. Same media being used to turn against them and make them into the biggest devil on the earth. Ultimately, P. Diddy is not really he's not the epitome of this conversation. Ultimately, what we're saying is that the same media that can be used to turn on him is the same exact media that's going to be used to eventually turn on those who profess the truth.
As a lawyer, can I say something? Let me say something. I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, but see, that's the disadvantage from our point, right? These are people who have come in later, who are hearing the tail end of something without viewing the whole context of the video. If I would have just came in a couple of seconds ago and heard what we were talking about, I would have believed the same thing. Let me put that out there.
Right.
Okay. So the whole thing is this. If you were to look back at this video, which is over 3 hours long, probably by now, you'll see we went all through the scriptures on this. The Bible was throughout the whole broadcast, right? Hold on. Let me. The Bible was set as a teaching tool in instances all through this particular broadcast. So to know how not to fall by the wiles of the devil is really the context and how they will calculate. Listen to me. How they will sit and calculate using the business to get our people in prison. And then Christ said in Revelation, behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. So what we was doing is tying all of it together to give you a heavenly understanding, a biblical view of what most people are ignoring in this. So if you think we're having the conversation that everyone else is talking about, that means you came in late without getting the full understanding of this particular broadcast. And guess what? We have to talk about it. We have to talk about the music. Why? Because it tells you Lucifer's first position in the heavens. How he was a great musician, a great singer, and how that influence impacts this earth today. So what you might not think is relevant according to scriptures, others might think differently. We may have someone here, a young brother or sister who's looking to get into the game, who's about to sign contracts. You don't know the conversations we have behind closed doors. Who you don't know how many emails and phone calls I received, like, Elder. It was like y'all was speaking to me that day because I was about to do the very same thing y'all was talking about, and it could have meant my life. So again, my suggestion is look at the video from the beginning before drawing conclusions. Because if we can use a hot button topic to bring something to light and bring our people to the Almighty, then guess what? That's what fishermen do. Christ says he's going to make us fishers of men. Well, what better way to do it than to use what the enemy would use to demonize and to destroy, and use it as a tool to highlight or put a spotlight on the whole satanic board, on the whole thing. So I hope you understand that. And if you don't understand it, it's okay if you just came in. Okay? There's nothing but scriptures and teaching tools. I mean, teaching and high level information through the scriptures for wisdom that came out of this particular broadcast. And again, believe it or not, the music business, the corporations, it's all of that is a religious attack against God's people and those who believe in Christ. It's a religion. Even though they utilize their power in corporations, you have to see where they worship from. They take those sentiments that they learn within those temples and put it in industry. So it's a religious attack, and our people don't even realize it. Okay? P. Diddy and all these people were pulled into a religion, a religious ritual that Satan used indirectly to attack the youth. So if it's out there, we're going to talk about it, but give it a biblical perspective and understanding that most would totally ignore, because most people only talk about these things on the surface. Anything else, Elder Lloyd?
Right. No, sir. No, sir. That's it.
They scratch the surface. They follow the trails of what the enemy have them look at, to demonize someone through the media and all that without what? Without addressing the whole thing. Guess what? We don't want no more P. Diddy's. So tear the whole thing down then.
Right.
It's evil. It's sinful. All of it. The perversions that we read in Romans 1, if you missed it. The spirit of abused children who they raised to be agents to fight against our people. All of it is in the Bible. And if we followed the law, there will be less P. Diddy's. Okay. Latoya? Shalom.
Yes, Latoya, no A.
Latoya, how are you?
Greetings, brother.
Greetings.
I'm blessed by the best, and his name is AHAYAH.
All right now.
Okay. I've been listening to the program, and I noticed that you give reference to KRS-One, and if it's safe to say, I'm a big fan of his. Went to a couple of his concerts. Still have the cassette tapes. And listening to a previous call you had taken, and the caller wanted to know where did hip hop originate from, and it compelled me to call because I have a book called The Gospel of Hip Hop, and it's written by KRS-One. And the origin of hip hop is in this book. I didn't finish the book. I'm flipping through it now, noticing some spots that I had highlighted. But my comment was like,
because let me speak on that, because I wouldn't endorse the religion of KRS-One, because that's what he turned. He wanted to become a priest over the hip hop church. Okay, so I can distinguish between that particular madness and when KRS-One came out with the knowledge that he was learning from One West, that that Abraham was a black man and all these others. I'm just showing people the trajectory, the spirit the Most High had in the earth, moving us towards him in that art before the enemy came in to redirect it. But go on.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think that he was trying to, he noticed the negativity of hip hop, but yet he tried to, just use his talent to create, let's say, a religion, because he wrote a book, this book for the Temple of Hip Hop. I'm not trying to plug or anything.
Okay,
but,
I'm familiar with it.
Thank you. So, so it's just when you said that they have this talent, these artists, they have this talent and they try to use it for good, but yet it's usually too late, because even this book, I don't know how much or what the sales, how many sales it came about. Apparently it didn't do too much good because of if we look at our culture now, but yet I feel compelled to give him some type of credit of trying to, put some positivity in hip hop to create, quote unquote, a culture.
Exactly.
That's my comment on that.
It was going in the right direction. Really, it wasn't, let me tell you, it wasn't perfected. Yeah. It wasn't all holy, but there was an innocence to it that really reflected, our youth and how we came together to celebrate ourselves, in the inner cities. It wasn't all of this criminality and all that. I mean, even if you look at Run DMC and we talk about My Adidas, right? We were actually, just talking about, dressing a certain type of way and all these other things. It wasn't until the enemy came in that he redirected the art into criminality. And it's our people, like Elder Lawyer pointed out, who was willing to sacrifice their own people in the future of our communities for a quick bag. And that's the unfortunate part about it. All right, because there was a moral component within the music business in of itself. Right? There was always a moral component. Even if there was class. When you look at Motown, when you look at Philly International. Now, some can say there was always some mob money throughout the business since its inception. Okay. But all in all, there was a class that came with the music before the enemy came in and turned hip hop into gangster rap.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we've been failing ever since.
Yeah.
Right.
I have to give a mention to MC Light because she was trying to give the women some guidance in her music.
Exactly.
So yes, there was some class.
That's what. Let me tell you. Back then, there would have been no such thing at that time. There would have been no such artist as Sexy Red, Sukianna, Cardi B. No. There would have been no such artists because these young women would have been ashamed to be seen like that, to be presented like that.
Yeah.
They were up against too high a level of class of woman back then. And I was there. We'd be at cookouts and a woman come dressing like she have no business. And all the girls come together, the women and wives and all that, where they'll shame that woman out of the barbecue. Like, I don't know what man you think you coming around dressing looking like that. So it was the other women that used to keep women like that in check to know that, no, you're not accepted in some circles running around with your behind out. The women that used to
Right.
shame women like that. So there was no place in music where a woman could have been like that. I mean, think about Queen Latifah. She came out as Queen
Yes.
Latifah, right? And she came out
Right.
with straight, kente cloth, a crown on her head. You know what I mean? She was operating in the spirit of a feminine woman.
Nice in her pantsuit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So no, even though she had an inclination towards the same and all that, as we found out later, all in all, she knew she knew she had to keep that with herself, because there was shame amongst our community at that time. There was shame. So the devil accomplished exactly what he wanted to do through hip hop. So I got to get to the next call, sister. But
Yes, we have.
all right.
Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Very interesting call. I really appreciate it. Kayem has a comment, and then we'll end it with the sax player.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom, Kayem. How are you?
All right, pretty good. All praise to the Most High. AHAYAH.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Talk to me.
Great broadcast. Double honors to all the elders. Elder, it's like what you said as far as this industry. I mean, and hopefully, if a young person come past this broadcast, listen, this is the truth, because and this is how wonderful our Heavenly Father is. This is Job 38:3, Elder.
Go ahead.
Gird up now thy loins like a man, for I demand of thee, and answer thou me. So even then, Elder, our Heavenly Father knew that we would have our pants sagging. So this is the spirit that he knew that we was going to have in these end times. And Elder, like far as this, the gangster rap, it sent our people to prison. And this new music is open the doors to hate. So it's like these young people and this drill music, they're promoting death. So it's like they calling their name of their neighborhoods, a fallen person that got killed in the streets, and they're glorifying this wickedness, Elder. And this is the last scripture I go to, Elder. This is Ecclesiastes 7:5. It is better to hear the rebuke, which is this is for our leadership. This is what they're doing right now, family. They're rebuking this stuff, so we can't get offended of this. And here it is, Elder. It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the song of a fool, of fools. Elder, that's what it is. We must attack this industry, quote unquote, with this truth music. We got, you know what I mean? And shout out to our brother Barzell, Elder. Get well, brother. And we got a lot of great talent. Kwadam, Shadawa, Tazawa, Matazadok, Elder
Bishop
Ariah.
Elder
Ariah. Yep. Bishop.
Elder Ariah. You got Deacon Malak. Yeah, we got some talent.
Malak. Yes, sir.
Speaking of that,
yes, sir.
Speaking of that, I'm going to let everyone know I have an update for the summit. But go on.
Yes, sir. And we have to understand that everything that is going on now, it is written. It is written. Our Heavenly Father sent our great King YASHAYA and our Heavenly Mother, and and everything is foretold in our book, our great book. So that's all I got to say to the young people, man. Get in this book, learn it, because it will save your life.
Thank you, my brother.
Water, Elder.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, Brother Kayem. He always call in. What a blessed brother. All right, 515-605-9327. All right, only got a few calls left here. Let's see. 515-605-9327. 1 second. Yeah. Yeah, before I go, I would need to mention the fact that in 16 days we'll be there. We'll be there in Augusta, Georgia. Okay, we'll be in Augusta, Georgia, the 7th and the 8th of June. 7th and 8th of June. I hope to see you there. Go to, as you can see in front of you, here's the place you would have to go. GOC Royalty. GOCC Royalty Summit.com. GOCC Royalty Summit.com. Okay. And if you'd like to be there with us, we have a full event for 2 days. Eventful 2 days. Okay. We have vendors and all of that. If you want to be a vendor, you can, if you have something that you need to share with us, you can actually hit vendors and be a part of that and bring your product so that we can share in and support your particular enterprise, whatever that might be. So you can be a vendor if you would like. For the event, we're going to have a health symposium the first day at 7 p.m., a health and finance symposium to teach our brothers and sisters how to operate with finances, being that they're trying to block us out financially with the overcrowding of immigrants in our community. So we must be wise with our finances. So we're going to show you how to do that. We're going to have a health symposium, as well as a health symposium, right? We're going to have a play that night at 7 p.m. on Samson and Delilah, okay? 11 a.m. the next day, we'll have a class. Then we'll come back at 5 p.m. where the gala begins, okay? We'll roll out the white carpet at the GOCC Royalty Summit, okay? There'll be food there. It's a part, you get a plate. It's a part of the whole program. And all of the artists throughout the earth will be there to perform. You don't want to miss it. Royalty, GOCC Royalty Summit.com. Go there, log in. You can register here as a guest if you're not baptized and get your tickets. Okay, once you get your tickets, there'll be seats that you can actually book. It'll show you the seats available for you. Very few seats are available, so you better get in. Next thing, okay, Hebrew Bible Academy, Satan at the Kaaba Stone. What's really going on in Mecca? Well, we're going to find out this coming Sunday. Satan's angels exposed. I hope to meet all of you, not just in the academy this Sunday, but also at the summit June 7th in 2 weeks. All right, who do we have here? Last but not least, we have the sax player. How you doing, my brother?
Shalom, brother. Double honors to you and elder lawyer.
Blessings.
And all
blessings.
the elders and bishops.
Thank you. What say you?
Hey, you bring me back, bro. I remember I sold those records at Camelot Music, Sugar Hill Gang on the 33-inch disc. And you know, back when you had the cassettes and the 8 tracks and the vinyl records, you know, and they sampled the Sheik's record for all the way down through the song and stuff. Yeah. You know, and I just see that it's a bunch of hurt people that they're using and trying to put them out there that's been hurting. They're uneducated. They can't read. They can't write. They don't know contracts and stuff. And you can go down the line. Little Richard, Bobby and Switch there. Bobby DeBarge, Michael, he was, you know, a little something there. R. Kelly, P. Diddy, all of them, you know, they had some kind of past where they would hurt and stuff, and they found this kind of way of being and trying to function in some kind of way and thinking it was all right, but it's wrong. They was getting away with it. Now they want to bring them to light. But what about all the other people through those years of music? Let's just take gospel, blues, soul, rock and roll, R&B, disco, funk, rap. They all come from each other. Yeah. All of them derive from these things here. You see, when they had the disco, that's when that homosexual thing was coming on. Then when you had the funk and come to the rap, it was clean. I remember. It was nice things was coming from that and everything. But then look, African Barbado, that guy there that did the thing with James Brown there, Africa Mabano or whatever. And then you had these other people.
Africa Bambaataa.
You know, they were sampling the music of the Funkadelics, R&B, the Chic, and all of these groups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And all this stuff infiltrated. You always had some bad apples in there. You know, they was doing some perverted kind of crazy stuff in there all through there.
Yeah.
But back when I was, because I'll be 65 Saturday. That's just showing you how old I am.
All right.
I'm old school. I remember the music when it's clean. You know what I mean? That R&B, that Sam Cooke come from the church. Marvin Gaye comes from the church. Aretha Franklin come from the church. Whitney Houston come from the church. All these artists. The brother that died in the airplane accident there. His band I used to play with in the barricades there. What's his name there? Sitting on the dock of the bay. Him too. He come from the church. Little Richard came from the church. Yeah, beautiful brother. Little Richard, James Brown. All these people come from the church. They just changed the word. And it's the same thing. These people they did with the rap, they changed the word of what they were saying. The music is still the same, kind of you know, the music can't change.
I mean, you're talking about Jackie Wilson. We had Jackie Wilson. He came out of the church.
Frankie Lyman.
Yeah.
Ray Charles. All of these artists, beautiful artists and music, you know, and you can see it, you know. The musical notes don't change it. It's what you're saying, how you frame it, and what you're trying to talk about. And that was so surreal to see that brother in Bones, Thugs, and Harmony. They're from Cleveland.
Yeah.
I know that guy. And when he was talking like that, oh, my God, about the conflict, he's telling the truth.
Look at
he's
that.
telling the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I started crying when I saw that, man. I'm like, oh, man.
Look at that.
I said, you know, and you saw how the devil was trying to mess up the program so that wouldn't go through, you know. But the truth is going to come out somewhere or another. But I'm going to be doing a little bit of something at the show down there, you know. If you want me to do something with you, just ask me. I'm ready. I'm practicing hard.
Well,
and I talked to James Brown people today.
Okay.
You know.
All right.
Deshaun and Dee Dee.
Well, I do have your number, so I need to talk because we're going to be getting together. I have a studio session next week, so I know I'm going to be calling the other sax player too, so I'll call you up.
Well, it's easy for me to get there.
Okay.
I'm retired. I'm 65.
Okay. All right. Oh, you look good for 65,
young
on
man. Airplane. I almost went over there with Elder over there in London.
All right.
I almost went over there with Elder to do something in London.
Okay.
But me and him got to talk to you about something anyway.
Okay. Well, we'll talk off. We'll talk off this, you know, and I'll give you a call. I got your message the other day, so we'll talk. All right.
Yeah, I sent you a song too that I did.
Okay.
I sent it to the administration.
Okay.
I sent it to you. It's a classic.
Okay, I'll listen to it.
Check it out.
Thank you, my brother.
Okay, you have a blessed day, and God be with you. Thank you.
You too.
Shalom.
Shalom. All right, that concludes our broadcast for today. And again, see, the devil can't create anything. He can just
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.
sit on the side
Goodbye.
and really exploit the God given talent that was given to the children of God, right? The devil cannot create anything. He can just sit back and exploit. And I believe we're coming into a time where, through the Spirit of the Almighty, we're taking full ownership of what the Most High have blessed us with. And again, that's what we're going to celebrate in a couple of weeks at that summit. To know that the enemy cannot take anything from us, that the music that's produced directly from the Almighty is our gift to the people. And if any proceeds come from it, guess what? It goes back to the people who have made it. Okay? And this is why they are scrambling. They can no longer control God's people. We're the children of Israel, and we're back. Stay prayed up, sin not. We will soon see Zion. Have a pleasant evening, brothers and sisters, and watch out. They're looking to throw our people in prison. Good night. I'll send you off with a song. Blessings.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With a great escape, we went through the Euphrates.
Sir.
The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. That's who we be. Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, and Valley from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans. AHAYAH's gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us at gunpoint. Together our wives and children then sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. AHAYAH gather us. Asher in Colombia, Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. AHAYAH's gathering.